It's 6:01 p.m. I'm going to call the council to order. We have a quorum that is present today. We're going to go ahead and now have the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, and Mel Walden is going to step forward and have our prayer for us. If you'll please stand and bow your heads.
Father, we invite your spirit in, and we thank you for answering our prayer before we even ask. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight on November 16. I'm glad that you're all here, and I want to welcome all of those that are joining us via live stream. This is an exciting meeting tonight, as we will be witnessing the swearing in of our newly elected officials. I like to look at these occurrences as a chance for new beginnings, a time to reflect on the past year and our challenges, and make different decisions going forward based on our knowledge and experience. Many of you might think that being an elected official is easy. I can assure you it's not. We have legislative rules to follow, trainings we take, twice-a-month meetings with packets to read, and not only do the seven of us have to get along and work together, which can be difficult at times because we all come from different walks of life, but we have to make decisions to please all of you. So it can seem like a daunting task trying to get all that done and make everyone happy. However, this past year, I'm pleased to say, Council, that you accomplished a lot. And I wanted to spend just a moment letting you know how thankful I am for your service. You gave pay raises not only to police and fire, but the public works and the rest of the staff through our approved budget process. So thank you, Council. You approved the dedication of the fire station to Ben Putnam and made not only his family happy, but the whole community excited as they came together to honor a great man who founded our fire department. You also dedicated this council chamber to the beloved Robert Cooper. His picture now hangs in this lobby, and there's lettering over the door. And last but not least, you purchased a fire engine and a brush truck for our town, something we desperately needed, and you acted fast by coming to a special meeting just so we could beat out other departments who were competing for it. You also made other great decisions, too many to name, that will be beneficial to our town long term. So once again, Council, I want to say to all of you that are here, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I also want to extend a special thank you to Owen Larson for his willingness to serve out Cooper's term. Mr. Larson, you did an outstanding job, and we hope that you stick around to support us in this coming year. Anyways, thank you very much. That's all for my mayor's comments at this time. I'm going to go ahead, and we made a change in our agenda, but I'm going to go ahead and jump to item number 5, public comments, and I'm going to allow Paul Knott to step forward to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'll be really brief. I'm just here to remind you about and invite you to the 27th Annual Keene Christmas Light Parade, 6:30 p.m. Sunday, December 3. We're starting at the Southwestern Gymnasium. We'll end there. Also, we have Richard Bothy as the Grand Marshal and Guido Ortiz as the Parade Marshal, and then the third car will be the mayor. So that'll be good. And we have Santa Claus on a special vehicle. I don't know if we can divulge that tonight, but Santa and Mrs. Claus will be riding on a special vehicle. So in the parade, we'll end approximately 7:30, 7:45, followed by a very spectacular fireworks show. So we will see you Sunday night, December 3.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Knott.
Thank you.
I have one more yellow card. Mr. Smith?
Troy Smith, 310 Woodlawn Drive. I wanted to give a shout out to Public Works. They came out to my house on Sunday while I was at church to blow a sewer line out that was being blocked, and our entire house was being overcome by the good stuff, as we can call it. So Dusty and Devonte, which I named the Double D, they did an amazing job getting there quickly and getting that done. So thank you, Public Works, for taking care of that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move back now to agenda item number 3, executive session. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, the City Council may convene into executive session at any time during the meeting that a need arises for the City Council to seek advice from the City Attorney as to any posted item and by the following authority. Tonight, we're going to be talking about A, Section 551.074, Personnel Matters, the City Secretary's resignation and exit interview discussion. B, Section 551.074, Personnel Matters, discussion regarding contracting interim city secretary services. C, Section 551.074, Personnel Matters, discussion regarding recruitment of city secretary. And D, Section 551.076, deliberations regarding security devices, parking lot cameras. We're going to go ahead and convene into executive session, council. It is 6:07 PM. I'm sorry? All right, well, we're going to be discussing All right, it's 7:50 PM. I'm going to call the council reconvene into open session. Council, we're going to look at agenda item number 4A, consider approving the city manager to sign a contract with City Hall Essential for interim city secretary services. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve authorizing the city manager to sign a contract with City Hall Essential for interim city secretary services.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve authorizing the city manager to sign a contract with City Hall Essential for interim city secretary services by Foster and a second by Gutwa. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Council, we're going to go ahead and consider B, appointing an interim city secretary. Do I have another motion?
I move to approve appointing Nathan Drombrano as an interim city secretary.
Second.
Do we want to put any clarification on until the interim city secretary agreement is executed?
And amend that to say until the
City
city
secretary
secretaries.
agreement is executed.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Foster to approve appointing Nathan Drombranu as interim city secretary until the interim city secretary service agreement is executed, and a second by Beeson. Any further discussion on the motion?
I second.
Yes? You have discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Okay, we're going to move on at this time. We've already done public comments, which is agenda item number 5, so we're going to go to agenda item number 6, reports. Informational reports, receive a report and hold a discussion regarding the city manager's report. Mr. Batla?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. A couple things to report and remind you of: the Christmas parade and fireworks, as we already heard, on December 3rd. The bulk trash pickup will be on December 5th, and people will need to call or submit their request before noon on Monday, December 4th, for that bulk trash pickup. Let's see. There will be, due to the holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday, the Thursday trash that's picked up will be picked up on Friday instead, if you're on a Thursday route. Reminder of Movie in the Park, which is December 9th at 6 p.m. I think that'll be a nice event, and we've got a lot of interest generated for that. It's Movie in the Park, December 9th at 6 p.m. Following that, the next day, the Christmas market, December 10th, we have 50 vendors with a wait list. You've seen some of the decorations starting to go up. We're scrambling for that much electricity for that many vendors, so we're working hard on that. But it should be nice. Really need the public to show up and support the event, our vendors, small business. It'll be good all around for Keene. The basketball courts, you've seen the new one poured. We are waiting to put the basketball goals up, the rims and backboards, until they stripe it. So we're waiting on that, and that should be done here pretty quickly. We were asked to look at animal control update, Councilman Johnson. We pulled all of the prior research that we'd done. We'd done quite a bit of research for several years. One of the things that's in the works as far as animal control is more of a regional approach, kind of at a county level approach, where we all kick in a certain amount and have those services kind of at a county level. So we are working with a group to look at that also, to see what the most efficient option is to handle that issue. So more to come on that. And then, yes, a little bit of a community center update. I would like to thank Nathan, amongst all his other hats he's been wearing. He's been wearing building maintenance also. So the community center looks great. He's had it painted, the floor is clean, a lot of maintenance items, a lot of IT items. So I just wanted to recognize him in particular for that. The community center's back up to snuff. So that is all I have for announcements.
Is there any questions for Mr. Batlow? All right, thank you, Mr. Batlow.
Thank you.
Receive a report and hold a discussion regarding the year-end financial report. Mr. Williams.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening. And this is the September 30th year-end financial report. And some good news there. The first one is the property taxes. We were just off 1.9%, less than 2% from what we projected for the year for that. Most of that taxes being considered that we had frozen levy and protests during the year, so we don't quite meet the 100%. It's tough to get 100% property taxes in the state of Texas. It's an ongoing issue with that. Sales taxes, we had went over our target, which is great news with that projection by $17,000. The other good news is that at the bottom line number, which came out to 4.7 million, it came out to be about 94% of the target. Now, remember when we did the budget, these are all estimates. They're not actuals, they're estimates. So to do a projection of what's to be, to come less than 6% short of that goal is pretty good. In the private sector, when I worked for at least 10, 12 years, I did the same kind of projections, and it had to be pretty hardcore because we did a lot of SEC reporting. I don't know y'all know much about that, but those reporting are based on quarterly projections as well annually. I came within 6 to 7% of that, and that's like a gold mine in projection-wise and financials. For the government side, that's, I guess, is pretty good as well. But based on my SEC reporting and my analysis in the corporate world, I try to stay as close and conservative to the target as much as possible, especially on the revenue side. Any questions from the revenue?
Hey, Charles, what is that A and B board, 300? How can they be matching? When A board don't get it like B board,
Well,
make sense?
no, sir. What it is, Councilman Johnson, is that they get 0.25% of whatever the dollar is matching for that. And so that's A and B board together for that.
That's all you got to say. I got you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Mr.
Thank
Williams? Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
I've got a question on the franchise fees.
Yes, sir.
I noticed we missed that by quite a little bit. I know that they were slow.
Right.
You mentioned they were going to be slow to pay, but it looks like they didn't pay at all.
Well, they
I mean-
paid a small portion. I don't know if y'all remember the freeze that we had a couple of years ago, and Encore, Atmos, and all the electricity company didn't really distribute the funds that they supposed to all the cities in Texas. We was one of them, and one of those things was we was projecting that we supposed to get a certain amount due it never came to pass. They have formed a committee to kind of go against what the state's supposed to be distributed to all the cities. That's still unheard of right now, but at this time, that's why it's shortened quite a bit because of that. I believe you heard on the news that there's a lot of things that is going on with those electricity companies. They're wondering where that money is still. So that's still up in the air at this time. Good question.
I just wondered if you thought that we were going to get that money eventually.
I believe after they go through all their, I would say, meetings and sessions, hopefully we'll get our share. I'm thinking in a year out from now. That's my projection. Yes, sir. Thank you. But this is all I have for right now. Any questions on the year-end revenue side? Thank you. On the expenditure side, just real quick, as you can see, all the department heads has been conformed to the budget, and you see the bottom line number, we less than 10% of what the target should be, considering what all the mayor had mentioned earlier, what we went through and done a lot for the city in 2023. I consider that a win-win right there. It didn't go over the budget. We stayed within the confines of the budget. Really a shout out to all the department heads and being compliant to the budget and staying on top of that. There are some departments I would really touch on, and that's with Public Works, Fire, and Police, the three biggest departments. They had a lot on their plate. And to stay within that, once again, a big shout out to the department heads and really stand in compliance to the budget. Some has been very tough. We had lost personnel. We have no contracted individuals. People were working overtime to take up positions that was lost. City still operated smoothly, and I call it similar to a duck on top, going very smoothly, underneath the waters, as you know, and still stay within that. So all the department heads in those three big departments, Chief Warner, Chief Hunt, and Chief Kidd,
Hunt ain't here no more.
well, he was during that time, and Chief Kidd, and then Chief Malone, Derek Malone, they all did a fantastic job. And I want to thank our new city manager. He came in, he saw this, and stirred the ship in that same direction without losing many people. And as you know, we brought on a lot of people, thanks to the mayor and the council, and looking after the employees, really taking that initiative to keep us all tied in, hands on deck. I thank you personally, and speaking on behalf of the entire city staff, they thank you. And they can thank you in their own way, but just letting you know what we have done and still staying under the budget at the end of the year. Thank you, council.
Thank you, sir.
You forgot to mention your yeoman's work of what you did with the budget as well, so you're included with that.
Well, thank you, sir. The water and sewer, we, at the end of the tunnel on that, they did very good. Now, that 4.2 million year-to-date I got it highlighted that 257,807 is a developer's agreement, although it's part of the equation, but it's not, so to speak, because it's in a restricted fund, which means we cannot tap into that. And I will show you the reason why on the last slide here. But we still put in water sewer fund because it's still part of it. And as you know, we are over that amount. Now, as you look through each line item, all the billing is well below the target. And I know I touched on this before throughout the year about the fees and things of that sort. So that's something we probably, our city manager, we're working on and getting that to be taken care of. Any questions on that? Expenses, same way. I think we right at target for this year in comparison to last year, which was well over the target in the expenses side, and just right at target on the revenue side. But this year, end of the year, we are over on the revenue side, which is based on that developer's agreement, and we right at target for expenses. Once again, Derek Malone, our Public Works Director, really did a great job because there was a lot of issues dealing with our infrastructure, which has weakened since the ice storm, and there have been a lot of repairs. But he still maintained it at budget, although he didn't have as many personnel, but there was a lot of work that he must accomplish. Thank you, Mr. Malone. Sewer, very similar to the water side on that. And what you see in red is that 257,807. As you compare it, you can see on the expenses, although it's just 3% above the target, it's a far less cry from last year's budget expenses. So he done a fantastic job with that. And while he tried to maintain TCEQ regulations and requirements, he made sure we did all the work we could to get everything accomplished like he should. You will see that at the end when I show you the year-to-date totals by fund. And here's where we go into the different avenues of the funds. What we have on the far left side in orange is what is in pool cash from the previous 5 or 6 years. If you start at 2018, this is from the pool cash bank statements. You can verify that with the Pinnacle Bank. You see that it was less than 200,000. If you go across from 2018, of that amount, 670,000 belong to water and sewer, which means you're already in a negative for general fund. In the debt fund, which we must pay, there was 206,000. And then special events that we keep track of from the audits, it had 46,000, which means we was operating in the negative in 2018, before I got here. The general fund. So the question is, how in the world we operated? How we operated was we did a lot of transfers from the reserves fund. The person that was here in my position was moving money from the reserves fund to operate for payroll, accounts payable, or any other type of transaction that was to be paid out. When I worked in the corporate world, there should be nothing negative, even in government. I would call that a financial suicide, to be honest with you. There's no way I have ever worked in the negative. But that what transpired right here after the research. 2019, over $1 million was in the negative work before I got here. So after you hired me on, my first 30 days is to fix the financials, and I mentioned that to council. It's gonna be fixed, it's gonna be in the black, and the city will be operating very smoothly despite of anything that is going on. That was my fixture. The year I came in 2019, October. So as you can see, the following year, we was 500,000 in the black without touching the reserves. Where before, in the previous 2 years, all the transactions was coming back and forth through the reserves that we supposed to have been keeping up and keeping track of. Yes, I did not move money back and forth from the reserves. I did not touch it. Council said, make sure you don't touch reserves. I did exactly that. But also make sure city was running and maintaining at a great level where AP was paid and payroll was paid. The next thing was the budget. I had to make sure the budget was fixed in such a way that we had money for the next following year. That's the key. While you be approving a budget, staff still had to be paid, bills still had to be paid, and the city services had to be still operated on. So the following year in 2021, you see a surplus, I wouldn't call it really a surplus, of 1.6 million. What that means and entails is that the city normally operates between $400,000 to $500,000 a month, operational. Equipment, personnel, resources, vendors, roughly about $400,000 to $500,000. And plus, we must have at least 3 months to move forward with. Before budget is approved and after the budget is approved. So if you multiply the 500,000 times 3, that's 1.5 million. So 1.6 million is about a good measuring stick to keep us going smoothly within that 3 months. It could be a catastrophe going on, but personnel and staff will still be paid their payrolls. AP will still be taken care of. That's why no money was moved to reserves, because we want to make sure we still had 3 months in reserves within general fund to take care of everything. When you look at water and sewer in 2021, 300,000 belongs to that. 38,000 belongs to debt fund, we just paid that. Sewer, CIP was 270,000. All of those funds are restricted. We could not dip into any water and sewer, CIP, debt, just to pay employees. I think I sent you a general fund policy, which shows the different levels called committed, restricted, unrestricted. Those are all restricted funds in red. I cannot touch that, no matter what. Employers wouldn't have gotten paid, because I will not touch that. That's state regulated, by the way. So in essence, going to 22 and 23, where we at now, we're on safe grounds. All those funds cannot be touched. I do suggest on the bottom line, that comment, that we can move at least 75,000 into a street maintenance fund, which we will be discussing about. That's the reasoning for that. And the reason why I wouldn't do a percentage. Because between now and next year, in a year, I don't know what the amount would be. I don't have that magic wand in my pocket. But as you can see, those restricted funds keeps me from moving any kind of funds in there until the end of the year. Not at the beginning, which is against state law, but at the end. But my recommendation, I highly suggested that, that 75,000, no more, because I do not want to curve into anything that would happen that would cut into that 1.2 million that we have in general fund. The staff recommendation for that is to keep things as is right now. We can come back toward the 6 months or toward the end of the year to make any suggestions based on after we get most of our property taxes in and kind of do a projection toward the year end to kind of indicate what we can do with street maintenance fund or the amounts, and or wait till year end, which is highly recommended, to see where we at and then move forward with the movement of funds between the general fund to the street maintenance fund. Because I totally agree, streets are the most critical. I agree with Councilman Gutwald, because as I ride as a outside person coming into town, I just had to go back and fix my car for front end alignment because some of the issues on the streets. I totally agree, but I digress. But these are my year-end totals for that. We are in good standing right now. I'd rather for council to have a highly discussion about where we're at now, which is in good financial condition, than in bad financial condition. So I digress, and I'm open up to any questions, if there be any, for transparency's sake.
Mr. Williams, I would just like to speak for a minute. This sheet that you have here in front of us, I just want to commend you for doing that. Thank you so much. You and I know I'm a stickler for the money and the transparency, and you and I went round and round last year with a bunch of exchanges of emails on this very issue, where I asked for you to tell me what was in the pooled cash account, and at that time you couldn't do it. And I understand why you couldn't do it, because I understand how some of our records have gotten lost over the years. We had the cyber attack and various things that happened. So I didn't fault you for not being able to do it, but I commend you for doing it now. Thank you so much, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to know what was in our pooled cash bank statement and what part of that was general fund, water sewer fund, what was restricted funds. I wanted to know that for our own sake so that we could kind of make plans on what we have left and know that we're okay, that we, like you said, have enough money to cover payroll, make sure that staff's going to get paid without dipping into reserves. Do we have any extra money for any other things that we might need to spend it on to add to any of our funds like street maintenance or anything? So anyways, I just want to say thank you, sir. I so appreciate it. I appreciate what you've done.
Just to comment on that, Mayor, I appreciate that. That took a minute.
I know it did. I know it did.
We don't have a robust system that spits out numbers. Our city manager probably going to touch on that, but I'm going to go ahead and steal his thunder. I thank him for it. We have going to have, in addition to the fund view, a budget module that does all of the things that it would take me to do that. The length of time it took me to do that was quite a bit, and I took a lot of weekends to do that as well, to build that up, to get all the numbers. This system would do it. It would save me, I would say from about a month or two of work, it would take me just within hours. Kind of give you an idea. The funding is less than what you would ever thought of. And we jumped on it because it helps with the budget, with the CIP, debt, change out all the funds, give you more transparency records. You will see this as we start our new budget. No more spreadsheets. Let me share some with you. No more. It will come computerized. The efficiency is beyond measure. It would help the finance department, and thanks to the city manager, to just coming on board to say, if you need it, do it. And let me share some with you. We had the funding for it, kind of let you know it's not something new. We had at least 50,000 in our budget, just moving from year to year. Why keep that amount in there? And it's less than 50,000, by the way. It's less than 20,000. And our first year, it's less than 16,000. So kind of give you an idea, $16,000 on a budget that does all of the budget reports, transparency for the council. You can see it in your cloud-based atmosphere, so you can see what's going on every time you turn it on. There will be no question asked where all the funds is going and where it should be taken from. So when I leave City of Keene next year, it'll be operating at a level it's supposed to be at a corporate, almost corporate style level, where you'll see what's going on. The question will be answered when you turn your computer on and see where we at real time. You couldn't ask for that in a small city. So yes, you remember my words. I'm bringing some of the big city ideas
Thank you.
into the small town.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, Charles, I got a quick question for you, Charles.
Yes, sir.
So in the total pooled cash, does just over the last 3 years, 21, 22, 23, the pooled cash looks like it's, the trend line is like going in the wrong direction. Does that concern you at all?
No, sir, not at all. One of the things is I want to make sure we keep at least $1 million in the account to take care of staff and the vendors through AP. No, the trend is not going down because as we speak, even for this year, September, October is making up already. We already received more, when I give you the October report, we already received more than we expected already. So it's already in the bank. We have at least, I would say, just from the numbers' sake, I'm gonna give you that right now, over $200,000+ that is added to the bank for the month of October. Most of that come from sales taxes. We have a big revenue from the fire department. Thanks, Chief. Those numbers from their work and their services. That's around 96,000. Another in the sales tax, 108,000. From the property tax, around 50,000. And then there's several other numbers I can give you, but that'll be all night long. But kind of give you an idea. That's what I look for the next month, because it makes up the ground that we may be short, as you may see from that. And it's really not trending down, I see it as it's trending up. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. That's a good point.
Mr. Smith, you have a question?
I wanted to, more of a comment than anything else. So originally last year when y'all did this budget, the budget number was $5,053,000. The expenses were $5,034,000 with a surplus of $19,000. Okay. And now look at what we did. We didn't even reach our target. We were shy by about $300,000. So in the event that we would have actually if the expenditures didn't match what our revenues were, which thank goodness our revenue or our expenditures were at 4.5 million, we would have not have made it. We would have been in the red this year. And those numbers would have been not considerably different, but enough different that it would have made a difference. We'd have been in the red. So, and then thankfully, the expenditures number isn't higher because we used ARPA funds to cover some of the expenses that we probably should have used for ARPA things, but we used them for fire truck repairs and other things that had come up. So I just want council to be aware that when we only have $20,000 of surplus for a $5 million business that we're looking at, that does not equate. So I just want people to think about that, because the numbers don't lie. And of course, we were all waiting for these numbers, and now they don't lie. So it is that real. So one, I appreciate that Mr. Batla has helped us get to around $250,000 this year. But in the future, I'd even like to see more, because, I mean, one well can take that all away in a moment's notice, as we've seen with well number 7. So just something I observed. I just wanted to make sure I shared it with people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Just refresh my memory, did you say it was 500,000 a month approximately to,
Between 4 to 5.
that's kind of our standard outgo?
Yes.
Then don't we need to keep 3 months of that in reserve?
Yes.
So
This right here,
that looks like our only reserve is 1.233, right?
well, in the pool cash general fund.
We have the money market account.
Does that count, the money market
Yeah.
account counts
This,
as?
this doesn't, no.
This is not part of it.
This is not.
No,
part
but I
of
mean,
the
there's a money market account toward our reserves. We can consider that as part of the reserve,
No,
of the,
I didn't think of the reserves in that conversation. That's a good point. In our reserves, we have close to 1.9 million. We don't have to worry about even touching.
okay, so that's not even reflected here in pool cash then?
No, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Any other questions?
No, go ahead.
Okay, next one. Oops. As you can see on the bank accounts on each of that, and the question with the councilman just mentioned, good point. And thanks to Troy for bringing that really clear. I try very hard to make sure all those funds and transfers between those accounts is operational. And keeping track of that almost on a weekly basis is really tough. And that's why I thank, once again, the city manager for giving us this module to work with to be more efficient and away from the spreadsheets that I've been using since I've been here. So this is what I have for now. October report will be generated and ready for you for the next month. If there's any question on the year-end report, please let me know, or you can contact the city manager for anything.
You
Yes.
finished?
Yes,
Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Williams.
and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 7 is public hearing items. We do not have any public hearings scheduled for tonight. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 8, consent agenda. Council, do you have any of these items under our consent agenda that you would like to remove for discussion?
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Bells?
that would be D, this street maintenance fund. I think we have some questions about that and would like to clarify that.
Okay, item number D is the only one, okay?
Yes.
Anybody else want to remove anything?
Hey, Lisa, I'd like to have on there about, animal control building up here. That building that we need. Can we put that on the agenda for next?
Yeah, we can do that when we get to that point,
Okay.
yeah, in the agenda, yeah, we'll put that for future
Thank you.
items, yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, council, so under our consent agenda, we're going to consider approval of city council minutes dated October 19, 2023, consider approval of city council minutes dated November 2nd, 2023, and consider approval of resolution number 2023-429 to remove Tabitha Mansell as an authorized signatory to all City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank. Council, do I have a motion?
I make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, and that will include removing, that's item D.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda, except for item number D by Gutwa, and a second by Foster. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Let's go ahead and consider approval of the establishment of a street maintenance fund. Who's going to speak to that?
I can give you a little bit of
Okay?
update on that. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I believe it was last council meeting, we had discussed different ways of funding some street projects, one being the creation of a street maintenance fund. There was some dissension on how much to fund that. So what I'd like to do here is kind of compartmentalize that, split that apart. I would like to establish a street maintenance fund, whether you put $1 in it, 75,000, or whatever. But I would like to establish a fund. So I've been looking at how on earth we tackle our street problem, because it's a big problem. It's been a big problem forever. There's no easy solution. We all know that. So I have a little slide, kind of a plan of attack is all angles. We hit it from every angle we can. I'd like to establish a street rehabilitation fund, and we can, again, we'll take the policy decision of the council, how much we fund that. We'll give you our take on it. We already have a street maintenance and repair line item, so we have that. We are working on impact fees, which will include developer impact fees for our streets. So that will funnel money into this whole overall attack on our
Okay.
streets. And then something to discuss in the future as we move along towards next year's budget is we can actually allocate a certain percentage of our sales tax for a sales tax for street maintenance. And I would like to discuss that as we start the next budget cycle process. So this gives us 4 different ways of attacking our street issue. There's other, we can float debt to do that, but we wouldn't advise that at the moment. We need to pay off some debt. Once we pay off debt, we can look at that. So this is just one of those puzzle pieces to establish a fund. And as Charles said, this rolls year after year, and it kind of forces our hands a little bit. And I'll use my own personal finances as an example. If I put money in the checking account, I'm going to spend it. If I put it in an investment retirement account that's hard to pull from, I'm going to do the right thing and save it there. So this kind of does that same thing. If we put money in general, it's going to get spent on other priority items. If we establish a piggy bank for streets, it'll be for streets going forward. So I'm happy to take any questions on that.
Any questions, council, for Mr.
My
Batla?
concern, I definitely think we need to have this fund, but some way after down the years that this council is gone, how are they going to recognize that it's a savings fund to do bigger projects, not, okay, we need to fix a big pothole in some street. And so, $75,000. Well, we have $75,000 in that fund. That's the thing that concerns me.
Yeah, that's a great question. This kind of limits that money you know, again, you have that more with different councils as seats change and priorities change, and everybody has a different, you know, project, different idea. You have that more, your risk more from the general fund side of that, of wanting to do things. If we establish that street fund, again, that's restricted, so it does restrict council, it does restrict us for spending money specifically on those just street projects. So if the pothole, for example, those smaller projects, hopefully we could cover that with maintenance and repair in our operational budget. This street rehabilitation fund, I would, you know, suggest using it once we build up a good nest egg. We look at our capital improvement plan and we start attacking those by priority. So, yeah.
Could we add the word savings in there some way?
I don't know how to
Or
defer that to
not?
Charles.
I don't know what's legal.
Yeah.
But, you know, because I see a street fund, rehab fund. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Beeson, that's a very good question. Like the city manager said, those are restricted. So it would tie the hands of the future council members because they know that it's a restricted fund. It would indicate as such also when the auditors come here that those funds would be frozen for those special purpose for streets only. And that's also a good question for the future because in that thought process, with this new budget addition that we'll be using, it would be also indicated as such, restricted for fund use only, which ties the hand for future council people if they want to try to dip into it. Because I see it as being grown into millions of dollars for that, and it'd be a credit to this council, especially to Councilman Gutwa, to get this process going. I also believe that this fund would be one of the essentials that City of Keene can look back and say, look where we at now, 5, 10, 20 years from now, of what y'all have done and started.
When you look at the overall problem, yeah, it's daunting, and there, you know, again, there's no easy solution, but we can at least start stepping in the right direction. So,
Yes.
I've got a lot of work for that 75,000.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so what we need, council, is just a motion at this point if you want to approve the establishment of the fund itself. And then we're going to be talking later in the meeting, right before the close, on what money we then want to go ahead and allocate into that fund after we approve it.
Well, I'd kind of like to see the verbiage on what this policy is going to look like before, I mean, I can give direction to staff to drop a policy.
That's what I was thinking we could do under H. Yeah, that's on our agenda. Possibly is direct them then to regard the sum that we're going to move in there and then create a policy. We could
No. I want them to see the policy first and then do the sum.
Right now, I think he's just wanting to start the fund. He
I
just
know.
needs to
I
create a
realize
fund,
that.
yeah.
But the money's going to be there in 2 weeks. The money's going to be there in a month. I am more concerned about the verbiage that goes into this policy than I am the amount of money that goes in there, if that's.
That was what Councilmember Grootwa was talking to, I think, a few weeks back, was creating the policy that will then restrict the funds like what Ms. Beeson is asking for, that will give direction as to what it's going to be used for.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would just like to give direction to staff to drop a policy that we can use to create this street maintenance fund.
I was just trying to, yeah, I'm going to say, I was trying to say, are you going to make a motion to, no? You just want to give direction? We don't have it as an agenda item for direction on that per se, but,
We actually gave direction 2 or 3 weeks ago
yeah.
that we were going to have a street fund. Here we are again.
But don't you want to read it before?
Yes. I do.
Okay. So I just deny, whatever that, I deny approving the establishment of a street maintenance fund. I make a motion to deny. How about that?
Oh, okay, do you want to,
Right now, I mean, if
I was
you're-
gonna
if
say,
you-
we could just skip it. I don't think that we need to necessarily deny it.
or you
Okay.
can table it?
Well, I think you need to move it to the next agenda, not
Yeah.
table, not.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we table? Is that what you want to do?
I'll make a move to table it, withdraw my last motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table the establishment of a street maintenance fund.
Second.
And Mayor, can I
By
get a
Foster.
date as to when you want the table? Is it next council meeting?
If they can get a policy done by then, no. Okay. All right, we have a motion to table the establishment of a street maintenance fund by Foster and a second by Gutwa. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Okay, we're moving on to agenda item number 9. Discussion and take possible action adopting resolution number 2023-430, canvassing the November 7, 2023 City of Keene general election.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you, you should have the resolution, and underneath the resolution is the unofficial results that need to be canvassed by this council. The Johnson County Election Office is the one that ended up running our election completely, and these are the results that they provided to us.
Okay, I don't need to do a roll call vote on this, do I? Just go ahead and make a motion to approve adopting this resolution.
That's correct. And then at the bottom, it'll just say how many yeses and how many nos are on the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve adopting resolution number 2023-430, canvassing the November 7, 2023 City of Keene general election.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve adopting resolution number 2023-430, canvassing the November 7, 2023 City of Keene general election by Foster and a second by Johnson. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. At this time, we're going to administer the oath of office for the following: Thomas Gutwa, Place 2, Rob Foster, Ward 1, and Charles Chuck Easley, Ward 3. Ready? All right, Mr. Gutwa, just if you'll join me at the podium. Okay. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is the statement of officer. So, Mr. Gutwa, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Thomas Gutwa,
I, Thomas Gutwa,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay,
offered, promised to pay,
contributed, or promised
or contributed or promised
to contribute any money or thing of value,
to contribute any money or anything of value,
or promised any public office or employment
or promised any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for giving or withholding of a vote
at the
Of the
election at which I was elected,
of which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
You want to go ahead and sign here? going to perform the oath of office. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and by authority of the state of Texas,
I, Thomas Gutwa,
I, Thomas Gutwa,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Place 2 for City of Keene Council
of Place 2 for City of Keene City Council
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, you sign right up here. You got your seal there, okay. Okay, you can go ahead, I guess, and take your seat. All right, Mr. Foster. All right, just repeat everything he said.
All right.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. This is the statement of the officer. I, Rob Foster,
I, Rob Foster,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised
offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised
to contribute any money or thing of value,
promised to contribute any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office or employment
or promised any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of a vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election for which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay. Sign right here. Now we're going to do the oath of office. Repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
I, Rob Foster,
I, Rob Foster,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Ward 1 for City of Keene Council
of the office of Ward 1 for City of Keene, City of Council
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right, sign right there. All righty, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Easley? Yes, ma'am. All right, this is the statement of officer. Repeat after me and raise your right hand. I, Charles, you've got Chuck Easley,
I, Charles Chuck Easley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay, contributed,
offered, promised to pay, or contributed,
or promised to contribute any money
or promised to contribute any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised any public office
or promised any public office
or employment for the giving
or employment for the giving
or withholding of a vote
or withholding of a vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election at which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
So you're going to sign right here. Now we're going to perform your oath of office. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
I, Charles Chuck Easley,
I, Charles Chuck Easley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Ward 3 for City of Keene Council
of the office of Ward 3 for the City of Keene Council
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Sign right there. All right, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to the new council of 2023. All right, thank you, everyone, for your service. We appreciate it. All right, this time we're moving on to item number 9C, discuss and take possible action to nominate and elect a mayor pro tem. Council, as you know, every year a new mayor pro tem is appointed per requirements in the city charter. The mayor pro tem presides over meetings in the absence of the mayor. The pro tem also signs checks in the absence of the mayor. There are no special requirements for what it takes to be selected as a mayor pro tem, except that they must be a member of council. I want to thank Mr. Bells for his service in this position this past year. He never got the opportunity to preside over any meetings. I'm sorry I didn't get sick, but I think he did sign some checks. Did you sign some checks for a while I was interim city manager? Okay. According to the charter, at the meeting in which the newly elected officials are sworn in, the mayor shall nominate and the city council shall elect one of its members to a one-year term. Typically, this process is seamless and smooth, except last year. And council, in the interest of forging new beginnings and showing unity to our staff and to the citizens and our new city manager, that we can all work together, I would like your support tonight of my nomination. At this time, I would like to nominate Thomas Gutwa as mayor pro tem. Do I have a motion to appoint Thomas Gutwa as mayor pro tem for a one-year term?
Can I make a motion?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Okay, I make a motion to elect Thomas Gutwa as the mayor pro tem.
All right, council, do I have a second? I've had a conversation with Mr. Gutwa. Some of the concerns that this council had about Mr. Gutwa last year no longer hold true. He now works in Keene, so he doesn't have an office outside of the city. He's accessible, and he's able to meet all the requirements of being a mayor pro tem, as far as being able to preside over meetings if needed, or sign any checks, or be available for any discussions that he might need to have with any city staff. So council, I'm going to ask you again one more time to show unity with this council and with the citizens and staff, and allow me my first choice for nomination.
I think we can safely assume it has died for a lack of a second.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call that the motion has died for lack of a second to nominate Thomas Gutwa as mayor pro tem. So council, I'm going to make my second nominee choice. I would like to nominate Ray Johnson as mayor pro tem. Do I have a motion to appoint Ray Johnson as mayor pro tem for a
I don't
one-year
think
term?
the charter allows for two nominations in the same meeting, I
This
believe
is
it.
how we did it last year.
Well, I
This is how
don't-
we can do it.
We've made mistakes in the past, we need to correct those for sure.
The attorney has told me that the mayor can make a nomination per the city charter, and I can continue to nominate until this council has a consensus in order to appoint one of my nominees.
I do have that wording if y'all would like me to read.
I'm sorry?
I do have that wording if y'all would like me
No.
to read it.
Please do.
Section 3.03, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, middle paragraph. The mayor, at the city council meeting in which election results are canvassed and new elected officials are sworn, shall nominate, and the city council shall elect one of its members, Mayor Pro Tem, to serve a one-year term. Should a mayor pro tem not be appointed by city council during the city council meeting in which election results are canvassed and new elected officials are sworn, the city council may appoint a mayor pro tem at the next regular meeting of the city council by selecting one of its members without the necessity of the mayor's nomination. But
And what we found last year, the city attorney did authorize that even at a subsequent meeting, I was allowed to make the nomination again.
that is what,
Mayor, is there our current mayor pro tem has done fine. He's on the signature card. We don't have to change that out. Why would it not be
Last year,
logical
I
for-
made the nominee choice to be Thomas Gutwa, and Mr. Bells came in as my fifth choice when I went down the line doing my nominees. So this choice has typically been handled by the mayor, and that's what the charter indicates. It says that the mayor shall nominate and the city council shall elect. And so it implies that whoever I nominate is somebody that I feel that it's trusted, that I can work with, that I can communicate with, and that I will be able to work well with going forward in the event that I can't preside over a meeting or sign checks. The duties of a city mayor pro tem are very limited. There's not a lot more than they do other than that.
But the charter simply states that if one is not elected, the council can at the secondary meeting. So it doesn't say it has to happen tonight.
It doesn't have to happen tonight, but
Right.
I can continue to nominate tonight, yeah.
Right, but at the next meeting, the council gets to nominate someone.
No, at the
That's-
next
that's
meeting,
what the charter
city,
says.
the mayor could nominate at the next meeting. That's
But it
how we
also
handled
says
it last year.
that the council can nominate. Read the
It
charter.
says, it said, should a mayor pro tem not be appointed by the city council during the city council meeting in which the election results are canvassed and new elected officials are sworn, the city council may appoint a mayor at the next meeting without the necessity of the mayor's nomination. But it does not say that I don't have the right to still nominate. And that's how it occurred last year. We actually did it over the course of 2 meetings, and I did nominate at the second meeting as well. And it was approved by the city attorney, the same city attorney that we have now.
I think it was quite embarrassing, if I remember right, last year, when you just went down the line, though,
Yes,
until,
sir, it was.
and I'd like to avoid that this year if we possibly could.
Then would you like to go ahead and make a motion to nominate Thomas Gutwa as my mayor pro tem, which is my choice? And then we can avoid that.
Or we could wait until the next meeting, and then the council can decide who the mayor pro tem is going to
The
be.
council's going to be deciding anyways, because you guys are making the votes, whether you make them tonight or whether you make them at the next meeting. The council is still deciding.
I know, but it's just
So it's
embarrassing to go down the line and go,
We could go down the
No,
line now, or
no,
we could go
no,
down the
no.
line at the next meeting. But in the meantime, we won't have a mayor pro tem, should we need one, because one won't be appointed. Is there a reason why you don't want Thomas Gutwa to be the mayor pro tem?
Well, there's one thing I think you're not letting the citizens know, that Mrs. Gutwa is your one and only employee. And I think probably the attorney would find that a conflict of interest.
That has nothing to do with the other. Who
It
I
has a
hire,
lot.
who I hire with my private business has nothing to do with who I choose to be a mayor pro tem.
but I think you charged us to be unified, if I recall, and it seems pretty obvious to me that we're unified, that Mr. Gutwal is not to be the mayor pro tem, and yet you keep bringing him up.
I served for 4 years with 2018 to 2022, and Mayor Heinrich was here, and he nominated Gwen Beeson to be mayor pro tem, and we gave him a unanimous vote. We didn't question Ms. Beeson's qualifications. We didn't question her location. We didn't question her job requirements. We gave her that privilege because Mayor Heinrich requested it, and we honored him and showed him respect, that he was choosing the best person that he felt was going to be the duty to do those duties and perform those duties. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm using my purview as the mayor to elect who I would like and to nominate who I would like to be Mayor Pro Tem the next year. I've already had Mr. Bells for Mayor Pro Tem. Let's give another council the opportunity to serve.
Okay, Mayor, can I speak? You know, before I got elected as a council member, I used to attend here, you know, for almost like 4 years before I became a council person. So I saw how the businesses were conducted here. And yes, the charter is very clear. When Gary was sitting right here and he was making his nomination, at one point I did run against Gwen Beeson. You were my opponent. And when that time came, I did vote for you. So there's personal feelings and political feelings. We should not mix those two, you know, those two. If we run out there as a politicians, once the election is over, I don't have any bad feelings. I don't hold grudges against anybody. Whether you nominate me or not, it doesn't bother me. What the citizens are asking is, the reason that was used last time is because I was working outside the city limits, which was probably a reason, because you are needed here sometimes to address some issues. And that's not an issue anymore. So the citizens who are watching out there, they might say, what else? And some of them have asked me, I've spoken to almost 98% of the people who live in Keene, you know, face to face. And they have a concern because they're like, are they genuine? Is there something that they're trying to use as a reason why? Okay, I told them the reason that was used last year is no longer applicable. So it's up to you. I mean, I don't, whoever we agree on, I'm willing to support. So if you have any issue or concern, that I might not be aware of.
I have an issue.
Yes, sir.
You set a tape recorder on that table right there, and you sent that video to Dan Roberts. I have an issue with that.
Okay. Let me explain. Anybody
Dan needs to explain, not you.
Okay. Allow me to explain, please, sir. Anybody in this room, by Open Meeting Act, is allowed to record audio or video, however you choose. The city is recording your audio right there. The city is recording your video right there. So if I record something, and for the record, if I record something and then you come to me and say, can I use that material? Can I have whatever, the pictures that I have in the past? And I want this one to be for the record. The Chambers of Commerce, Keene, have come to me and requested a lot of data going back maybe 6, 7, 8 years. And I've given them to use whichever way they see fit. And I do it most of the time for free because I love this city. My kids are born here. They live here. They go to school here. So if I have something and you come and tell me, can you help me with that? If the data is not so much, if something that you can be able to get, I'll be able to give it to you. Whatever you do with it, that's beyond my control. Most of the videos I've recorded here for several years back, I've shared them for free on Facebook. Has it helped the city from getting a lot of open record requests? Probably, because if somebody can see the meeting, they can get the answers right there. So that's what I can tell you. I do that, and I've helped a lot of organizations here in Keene for free. I offer my staff. I don't normally, most of the time, the data is not so much. I always just offer it to help whichever it can help. So that's to address it. It's whatever I have. If you come to me and say, hey, can I have that, whatever, I've given a lot of people here in Keene for free. I don't normally, I try not to charge if it's something that doesn't consume a lot of my time. And I hope everybody loves Keene the way I love it. I've offered a lot of things for free. Even serving as a council, I've explained to you, I'm willing to serve if needed. If I did not have any time to do that, I'll say, I can't do that. So that's just to address your concern.
Mayor, is the motion still active for Mr. Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem?
I don't think I got a motion for it, so no, it's not active
Okay.
because we didn't actually get a motion. All right, Council, I would like to nominate Thomas Gutwa as Mayor Pro Tem. We're going to go through this again. Do I have a motion to appoint Thomas Gutwa as Mayor Pro Tem for a one-year term?
So do you want me to make another motion?
Okay, I'm going to move on to my second nominee. I would like to nominate Ray Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a motion to appoint Ray Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem for a one-year term?
I'll make that
Second.
motion for Mr. Johnson.
All right, do I have a second?
Or do you want to do it the right way? So do you want me to make a motion, or you want to make a motion? Do you want to make a motion, or you want me to make a motion? Okay, second.
I made the motion for Mr. Johnson.
Okay, second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to appoint Ray Johnson or elect Ray Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem for a one-year term by Bells and a second by Gutwa. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? And we had 2 abstain. Mr. Johnson, did you abstain? Okay. Okay, that is a motion of 2 for, 2 against, and 2 abstain. Does that mean I can break the tie? All right, I'm going to break the tie in favor of Ray Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem. Motion is carried. Congratulations. Okay, item number D, consider approval of resolution number 2023-431 to remove Mayor Pro Tem James Bells as an authorized signatory to all City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank. So council, I need a motion since we've just selected a new Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion to approve, is that correct? Resolution 2023-431 to remove Mayor Pro Tem James Bells as a signature for all city accounts at Pinnacle Bank.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve resolution number 2023-431 to remove Mayor Pro Tem James Bells as an authorized signatory to all City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank by Mr. Easley and seconded by Mr. Gutwa. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion is carried. It's unanimous. Consider approval of resolution number 2023-432 to add the appointed Mayor Pro Tem Ray Johnson as an authorized signatory to all City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-432 to add the appointed Mayor Pro Tem Ray Johnson as an authorized signatory at all the City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve resolution number 2023-432 to add the appointed Mayor Pro Tem Ray Johnson as an authorized signatory to all City of Keene accounts at Pinnacle Bank by Foster and a second by Bells. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Discussion and take possible action approving ordinance number 2023-664, authorizing the Keene Economic Development Corporation, Type A EDC, to undertake any project that a Type B EDC may undertake under Chapter 505 of the Texas Local Government Code. Mr. Martin, are you going to speak to this?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and Council. At the last, excuse me, in the last month's meetings, A Board and B Board both approved and authorized and recommended to do this as well. As you can see in the ordinance, it's authorizing Type A to undertake a Type B project if council approves that. Trying to get to the right spot in the right book. So it's Type A sales tax may be used to fund Type B projects with voter approval at a public hearing must be conducted within the city to inform the residents of the city of the cost and impact of the project prior to the election. Further, the city must publish notice of the hearing in the newspaper with general circulation in the city at least 30 days prior to the date set forth to the hearing. It must be include the date, time, place, subject, and all that. It says, in addition, the Texas legislature amended the statute in 2011 by addressing the authority of a Type A corporation located within a city with a population of less than 7,500, which also has a Type B corporation. The city council, by ordinance, may authorize a Type A corporation to undertake any project that a Type B corporation may undertake. Does anybody have any questions so far? Well, thank you, sir. It does reference a couple of other laws. One is 504.171 in the Texas Local Government Code, and basically says the same thing. It applies only to Type A corporation that the creation was authorized by a municipality, which it has been, that has also authorized the creation of a Type B board or corporation, which it has, and the population of 7,500 or less. It says, notwithstanding, if permitted by ordinance of the authorizing municipality, a Type A corporation to which this section applies may undertake any project that a Type B corporation or the creation of which was authorized by the same municipality may undertake under Chapter 505. Any questions?
My only question is there a specific project that they're thinking about utilizing this policy for?
I don't think there's a specific one right at the moment, but if there ever one came up, we couldn't do it unless we had an ordinance authorizing to it. So this is just kind of like that first step in the puzzle of trying to make things better for the future. It doesn't mean we have to, and it doesn't mean we can just do it. It would still have to come before council to authorize it, but we can't do it unless there's an actual ordinance in place, and that's what tonight is about.
Then I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-664, authorizing the Keene Economic Development Corporation to undertake any project that a Type B EDC may undertake under Chapter 505 of the Texas Local Government Code.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve ordinance number 2023-664, authorizing the Keene Economic Development Corporation, Type A EDC, to undertake any project that a Type B EDC may undertake under Chapter 505 of the Texas Local Government Code by Foster, and a second by Beeson. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Since I voted on this on type B, is it a conflict of interest for me to vote it here?
I don't see one. Do you see one? No, I think it'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to discuss and give staff direction authorizing the I can't even say that word, I'm too tired. I can't say that word. Can you say that word, Foster?
Reprioritizing.
I can't say it, yeah, of ARPA funds to address a low water pressure problem on County Road 317.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to give you a little bit of background that has led to this. In July, we came to you with a plan to use those ARPA funds. We based that plan off of our capital improvement plan and also staff input. There were several high priority items in that plan. And we are under a time constraint for those funds. So we came to council in July with 4 projects. One was power and SCADA upgrades to the water wastewater infrastructure, replacement of a sewer line along Old Betsy in front of the Keene Pond, replacement of a sewer line along Oakwood behind the laundromat, and a potential Highline sewer line extension. Since that time, we've identified an item that we think is more pressing due to we've started receiving several complaints in the area of County Road 317 of low water pressure, and it is at the very minimum, so we would like to go ahead and reprioritize one of our projects to allow us to properly size that line from a 2-inch line. I think Derek can hear, a 2-inch line can serve a maximum of 10, and there's how many on there right now? Taps, 100? Yeah, so it's way over capacity. So they need to put a properly sized 8-inch line in there. This would be a good opportunity, since we have those ARPA funds, that it's not an emergency withdrawal from our enterprise fund. So what we are suggesting is we continue with these 3 projects. We continue with our power and SCADA upgrades to our wastewater infrastructure. We do the water line upsizing of County Road 317, and we continue with the replacement of the sewer line along Old Betsy in front of the Keene Pond. So I would be happy to take any questions on.
So when would we try to start on this project, like right away?
Right away, yes.
And how long would it take before it would be completed? Do we have any idea?
What would you estimate? Come on. That has been, so it hasn't been through engineering yet, or?
No.
Okay, all right. So there's some bottleneck areas, but
Okay.
it would start immediately.
Okay.
That would be part of it. Yeah, we would have to go out for competitive sealed bids.
Okay, just wondering. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve authorizing the reprioritizing of ARPA funds to address a low water pressure problem on CR 317.
Second. Oh, just go ahead.
Johnson, second.
Okay, yeah, Johnson.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve authorizing the reprioritizing of ARPA funds to address a low water pressure problem on County Road 317 by Bells, and a second by Johnson. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Agenda item H was discuss and give direction to staff regarding initial sum to move into the street maintenance fund. So we can go ahead and hold off on that since we tabled the previous issue about that since it wasn't approved. So let's move on to agenda item number 10, request for future items on the agenda.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
The old saying, how do you eat an elephant? That's one bite at a time. Now, I'm recommending for future agenda to discuss 4th Street. I've received several complaints from citizens, more than several, and it's a roller coaster. And we need to, I know we're gonna go forward with this funds for street maintenance. 75,000 won't do it, but we're gonna have to come up a way to start eating this elephant. So I'd like to see some engineering done on it and try to make a plan.
Along that line, can we add a portion of Santa Fe?
What do you mean in Santa Fe? If you don't mind?
Santa Fe Street.
Oh, fixing it?
There's a portion of it that's the same way. It's actually the War Street in Keene,
Well,
but
when Gary was mayor here, he said it wasn't on budget because we didn't have the money, but I agree.
we need to talk about it.
Yes, I got it.
Mr. Batlow?
So, some cost just for future consideration, so we'll bring this back, we'll get this information. Our Fairview project that we have a grant for, that'll be about 500,000, and that's about the same scope as that area of 4th, so that's kind of probably a decent starting point. There's a clay line under 4th, which would have to be replaced also, because we wouldn't want to spend all that money and then have to dig it back up for a bad line, so.
Yeah, that's
Around
exactly.
500 plus for that project.
Yeah, that's.
Just to kind of give you a rough starting ballpark.
You must have been reading my mind, because that's what I was gonna say. Before we do that, we need to really, I just seen too much of it in my time, putting new streets down, then they break, and then they, same spot we've been in. Appreciate you.
And then I have a request. Regarding the sidewalks on Eastern and 4th Street, maybe in the next meeting, if we can have the updates or status of where we are at. Thank you.
All right, Council, do you have anything else for future items on the agenda? Mr.
I'd
Johnson?
like to check on the animal control house up here building, seeing what we can maybe do with that, or try to figure, I haven't called anybody yet and see about the animals, how long they keep them, or what they do with them. But I've been meaning to call Joshua, but they must do something. They got 2 trucks and a brand-new building there, so.
Okay,
I was
we can
gonna
have them
call
give
and
us a
talk to
report.
them.
Okay, they can give us a report on that.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Council?
Yeah, I'd like to get the council's feeling of moving our meetings to the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month so that we can have an attorney present here at our meetings. I know that the 1st and 3rd are out with him, but what do you think about the 2nd and the
We
4th?
discussed that before. The 4th usually falls on the holidays. It catches
Well, we discussed
Thanksgiving, it catches
Tuesdays
Christmas.
before.
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
Yeah, but let's just talk about Thursday and but do the 2nd. I mean, we'll miss a couple meetings. The city will go on.
I thought he was, okay. Is he available on the 2nd and the 4th?
Well, that's what I'd like to discuss.
That's what you'd like to discuss, okay. Okay, Mr. Smith, we're just doing an agenda item request.
That's one, I have one. I wanted to see if we could get, I appreciate we are trying to work on 317, but I don't want those ARPA funds to end before they expire and then we lose out. So And we know that sometimes things takes time to get engineered and things of that nature. So I'd like to see us move in a positive direction quickly on the rest of the project, so that way we don't lose out on those funds. So I'd like to see those other items coming on the agenda item, on the next agenda, so that way they don't get lost in the shuffle.
Thank you. All right, it's 9:25 PM.